Yeah, because we had a detassel corn that was part of school. If a lot of people flunked classes like the whole year, got so many Fs where they couldn't continue next grade, and you had to do summer school, and for some odd reason you couldn't do summer school. Your parents could send you to detassel corn, but then at 15, age 15, if you didn't do driver's ed, you could detassel corn and you worked for like half of minimum wage, but you were underage and you were only working partial, and you could detassel corn behind that small building in Suckler's Pickles because cucumbers or they put them in a wine jar, a wine barrel that's wooden, and those cucumbers grow old like a wine after like 10 years, and they're cucumbers for. They used to be right next to Vassar's Picklers jars and everywhere in America. And that little place did not make all those pickles. You know what I'm saying? Across America that were everywhere. But yeah, Suckler's Pickles, there was just one of the factories located at our town. But anyway, yeah, they haven't made Thorazine for a long time, but it'll kill. It was a schizophrenic drug in the 50s, and if it was mixed with alcohol, it would kill people. There was some actor that got but yeah, and they quit making the year I became schizophrenic at 18. If you mixed it with any kind of beer or alcohol, within 2 shots of tequila, you were almost ripped apart and had to go to a hospital to get the antidote. But you cannot get Thorazine anymore. Like, no doctor will give anybody Thorazine. It literally, like I said, it killed a couple of movie stars, and they actually laid there on the sidewalk and got ripped apart. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, somebody dosed me, a schizophrenic that I met, was born in 69 and had been on Thorazine for years. As a matter of fact, his doctor grew up on the same road as me and later died on that road of 69, the freeway that I grew up on. I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, yeah, same road as my sister's a moped owner that I knew as a kid. His dad dated my mom or whatever for a year. My dad beat the fuck out of me. But yeah, but anyway, yeah. But yeah, I'm all for Farm Aid. I was kind of pissed when Farm Aid quit because they need more money than that, but I didn't really have time. But until they get these drones that controlled up that evaporates mud puddles that makes rain, and then some towns it never rains, or some towns there's nothing to evaporate when it doesn't rain because it can't rain. You know what I'm saying? But first of all, they need to figure some out because I do not know the rules for everybody. But I know what I've witnessed. If somebody catches a whiff of this, they get it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm in a lot of trouble. I always get beat up every second of my life because I'm a schizophrenic and I hope it ends. But that Elon Musk, a lot of people, I noticed, I just turned on the news and they said they're rallying. And it's not the cars that he produces or the other 400 people per shift, first, second, and third shift around the clock that don't end unless it's mandatory weekend overtime. They're not the problem. You know what I'm saying? The problem is he cut off his kid's weenie because those sex changes do not work. They cut off 200 foreign girls as vaginas that were under 8 years old in Michigan, where I lived at last. And those girls, like, it was on the news every night, but not hours and hours and hours. It was just an update. And there was like 2 years later, the dude got arrested. He was a surgeon. Their parents took him there. They were under 8 years old, like 6 to 8 years old. And 200 people, they sewed their vaginas shut. But they were foreigners, but they were just living in a foreign place. Oh, yeah, but in a foreign apartment building. They were allowed to be there. They had great cards. They just, because there's all kinds of foreign people that work in factories and motels, all kinds of shit in Indiana. They're way cool. Just because they tell their cousin, hey, you want to come down here and work with us? And we can get you, and 2 counties over, there ain't nothing illegal about that. Ain't nothing illegal about that. Everybody knows that. Get out of the neighborhood, go to Florida once. Yeah, man. But yeah, another thing is, but they sewed those girls' vaginas shut, and the doctor got arrested, but their moms took them there and said, the Easter Bunny's coming to get you at 18, you'll be all good, you're going in for a tetanus shot. And the kid don't know. And they're all fucked up, and like 2 years later, they said 3 times in the news, those girls, they tried to fix them. The other surgeons that knew the doctor did bad and they got arrested, well, the other surgeons later tried to fix their vagina humanly because the first doctor got arrested. They can't even fix them. They can't because in like movie stars in the 80s, they would try to have sex changes. And when you cut off a banana split hot dog boy or girl, the poop and the stuff don't line up in the colostomy bag of their bodies. And that's why my problem is with Elon Musk. He's sitting there, other people go to jail and not even know they're committing a crime. And Elon Musk knows goddamn well his kid Vivian is a schizophrenic and her head hurts so bad. And he won't even let her talk. She's probably talking about the meds she's taking and how her colostomy bag. And they tell her they're interviewing her, and they don't play the news. They just cut out and play him and say Vivian says this and says this about her dad. And she'd probably say my colostomy bag meets, my sex change don't work, my head hurts, my schizophrenic. I don't know how to do anything because I was homeschooled. I mean, it's shit, and it's not the problem with his cars. Maybe his cars, they can eventually get them to work like a solar calculator from 1980s, but until they stop evaporating mud puddle, make it rain in other places and not in other places, or thunder and rain or lightning stop when it does or don't, and letting him force his own kid to have a sex change by schizophrenically, but letting him stand up on stage and clap and act like he's a hero, and other people go to jail and not even realize they're doing something wrong. They need a. It's the problem. Is not his cars. They did a fucking give him a fucking good ride to a fucking probation. They need to give him probation. Turn off the schizophrenic drone fucking ears in his kid's schizophrenic ear.